Today, I'd like to introduce Jackie Melinger and Lisa Lipton from My Personal Bookkeeper. Very treasured partners of ours that we look to help our seniors stay organized, pay bills, do all kinds of wonderful things. And in the course of what they do, they're their own advisors. They have their own name for their own advisors, really protect clients, young and older. And they will talk a bit about scams today. And what I would ask is that as you have questions, please put them in the chat. We're going to try to wait till the end because there's a lot of material to cover. So I'd like to introduce Jackie Melinger and Lisa Lipton, and you can see in the chat all of our emails as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see the cover sheet here? Just want to make sure I'm on the right screen. Yeah, okay.
So we can see it well.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, thank you for having us today. We're happy to be here to present. We want to thank ElderWorks for the great work that you do in support of the older adult community. And we're so glad to have this opportunity. We have a lot of information to share with you today. And at the end, we'd love to hear your questions and also any stories that you might have to tell. I hope that you do not, but most people do have some type of scam story to share. And we'd love to hear them, how you dealt with them and what happened if we have time at the end. Okay, let me just 1 second. Okay. Okay, so you're probably wondering who I am and what knowledge I have to share with you. My name is Jackie Melinger, and I am a co-owner of My Personal Bookkeeper with my husband, Mike. We also own a caregiving company called Home Instead that we've been running for over 21 years. Prior to that, I worked in nursing homes. I was an admissions coordinator and then a licensed nursing home administrator. I also volunteer at my synagogue as a VP of development and the senior life chairperson. So you can see I've had a good deal of experience with both seniors and finance, but my most important roles and the most experience I have been as a daughter, niece, wife, mother, aunt, and friend. I've helped manage care and finances for my parents, my in-laws, and other family members. So that's been the most valuable experience I could have had. Lisa.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Lipton. I've been the Community Outreach and Development Manager at My Personal Bookkeeper since January of 2020, so a little over 3 years. My main role with the company is to really spread the word about My Personal Bookkeeper and the services that we offer to folks such as yourselves, as well as the great team at ElderWorks. I've also, I help with the daily operations, including responding to inquiries and new client onboarding. And I have responsibility for one client as their client advocate. I come to the company with over 20 years of marketing experience, working for various companies, consumer-based companies, and have done some volunteer work for the American Cancer Society, the Longevity Foundation, and Pilsen Junior Tennis Camp. And like Jackie, I too have helped family members with their care and their finances over the years. So before we jump into the presentation, I'd like to share a bit about My Personal Bookkeeper for those of you who aren't familiar with our company and the services that we offer. So as Barbara said, we provide our clients with help managing and organizing their day-to-day financial and household affairs. We help clients from all ages, as young as 21 to individuals in their 90s. And I think we actually have a client who's in his early hundreds. So, you know, we can help anyone. And some of our most requested services include bill pay, whether that's manual writing of checks or online bill pay. We can help get you set up for auto pay. We'll review your bank and credit card statements to make sure there's no inaccuracies and no fraudulent transactions. We help with tax organization, which is a popular topic right now. We'll help you get your important documents together for your accountant and work directly with the accountant to make sure he or she receives what they need in a timely manner. We also can help with insurance claim management, so we can review EOB's explanation of benefits and contact the insurance company, the doctor's office, Medicare, if there's any issues. We do mail review for clients that we meet with in person. You know, we all get a lot of mail and it's hard to decipher the junk from the necessary mail, so we can help you with that. And then another very popular service we offer is household budgeting. So we would get you set up in a financial application and develop some monthly reporting where we can build and monitor your budget versus your actual expenses so that we have a much better picture of what's going on with your finances. All of these services are customizable based on your needs, and we do have a team of 16 bonded and insured client advocates who work directly with the clients. We offer a free, no obligation consultation, and certainly if you want more information on your services, please feel free to reach out to Jackie or myself, or you can visit mypersonalbookkeeper.com.
So a little bit of a preview of what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about what actually is a scam and which scams are prevalent now, how you can recognize a scam, how you can avoid being the victim of fraud and identity theft, and what you should do if you think you have been scammed. So we'll get into more detail on all of this.
So let's talk about what exactly a scam is. I think most of us know, but just in its most basic form, a scam is a deceptive scheme or trick that's used to cheat someone out of something, and unfortunately that something is usually money. Scams are often perpetrated by mail, phone, or email, and those who are performing the scams may be trying to steal credit card or bank account numbers, Social Security and Medicare numbers, and one-time or recurring payments. They're often working slowly to build a file on you, so they may gather a birth date from one source, your Social Security number another way, and your bank account information later. Unfortunately, people over the age of 60 are at least 2 times as likely to be targeted by scammers than most other age groups. And this is because older adults typically have a lifetime of savings, and scammers are keenly aware of this fact. And another startling number, at least I found it startling, was according to the FTC, people reported losing $8.8 billion to scams in 2022, with seniors being the most common victims. Smartphones, online shopping, and social media have all increased the number of the opportunities for scammers. And of course, the majority of older adults want access to technology in order to connect with your family and your friends, but these tools can be very dangerous if not used properly. So given the online savviness of scammers, remember, anyone can be a victim, regardless of your age. So it's so important, if for some reason you do fall victim to a scam, don't be embarrassed or feel badly. The most important thing is to tell someone to report it, and you might even, if you've lost money, be able to retrieve some of those funds.
So why is identity theft so prevalent right now? You know, it's been going on for a very long time, but I'm not on the right side anymore. Okay.
But you were.
Sorry. It's been going on for a very long time, but the past few years have put people in desperate times due to the pandemic, the job market, and the economy. So we've seen an increase in this type of crime. Technology has also made it much easier to take advantage of people. You know, we don't see the person when they send us an email or a text, and it's easier to believe what we're hearing in this text or fall for it. We're living in a very fast-paced world, and we're all eager to get things done and check it off our list. So sometimes we get an offer for something that it was something we were thinking about doing anyway, so we just act upon it and don't really think about the information we just gave to a complete stranger as they solicited us. So, clicking on a link that they sent us just helps you get it done, and it could be very unsafe to do, but we're not really thinking that through. A reason that it's so prevalent also is that these scams often go unreported. People don't know who to report it to, or as Lisa was saying before, you shouldn't be embarrassed to be scammed. It happens to everyone, but sometimes people don't want to tell anybody that it happened to them because they feel they should have known better. So it doesn't get reported, which is why people can continue to do it. And even if reported, it can be very difficult to catch the person who is doing this, and it can be difficult to prosecute. So we're going to talk about some examples of common scams and how people are getting at your personal information. So some of you have probably heard of the grandchild in trouble scam, and Jennifer mentioned it. If you heard the radio spot on WGN radio the other day, she mentioned this. But what happens is the scammer calls usually an older adult late at night or early in the morning at a time when they're going to wake them up and catch them in kind of a groggy state where they're not maybe thinking as straight as they would during the day. And the scammer says, "Grandma, I need your help. I'm in trouble." And Grandma says, "Susie, is that you?" So now the scammer has Susie's name. So, "Yes, Grandma, it's Susie and I'm in trouble. Please don't tell my parents. They're going to be so mad at me. Can you please help me?" And then they ask you to wire money or give them your credit card information. And this is just an awful way to take advantage of people. It actually happened to someone I know, and they realized afterwards that they were scammed, but they didn't call their family right away because they were embarrassed. And eventually, like a day later, they called their daughter and, of course, learned that Susie was just fine and was home, was not traveling. And when they checked their account, by this time, they had been scammed out of $5,000. So really a tough situation. As I said, Jennifer spoke about this yesterday, and she gave some great advice. She said, definitely don't use the name of your grandchild. Ask them, "Wait, who is this? I didn't hear who you said you are." Or ask if you can call them back. Say, "The connection isn't good, I'm going to call you back." And then if you know it's not them, and just move on from that. Another really common thing is an email appearing to be from the Social Security, or a phone call that's unsolicited from the Social Security Administration. Social Security Administration does not contact people by phone or email. They still do everything by postal mail. So if you receive some kind of call, they'll probably be telling you there's a problem with your benefits, but if you can provide your Social Security number and or your bank account, we can get your benefits reinstated, and we don't want you to miss out. Never give this information out on the phone. If it's, your accountant told you they need to have this information and you know the accountant, that's another story. But to just a stranger on the phone, you should never give out your bank account information or your Social Security number. And the same thing if you received an email. Don't click on the link. If you think there's a problem with your Social Security, you just need to call Social Security, and unfortunately wait on hold for a while, but don't handle this through email or an unsolicited call. And then the same thing goes for the IRS. They will not call you or email you. You will get something in the mail. But it's been very common for quite a while now for people to get phone calls. I've received them too, saying that my payments are late and there's a warrant out for my arrest. And if I want to take care of, getting this paid right now, I can give them my information. And you just need to hang up on those people. Don't speak with them. So all of these, as Lisa said earlier, all of these are attempts at getting your Social Security number and other personal information. And as she said, you might get the same, scammers might find you in many different ways and start building a file on you.
So we're going to talk about several different vehicles through which scams can come to you. This next one is through utility companies. Now, oftentimes we hear of scams concealed under the veil of a call, an email, a text, or at its worst, an in-person visit from a utility company. And some suspicious activity to be aware of includes the following. The gas company or the electric company will use aggressive or intimidating tactics to pressure people. They'll never request a specific method of payment or ask you to vacate your home when they enter, or threaten to cut off service in a very short time frame. They'll give you ample notice if, God forbid, that's going to happen. If you receive a phone call asking about payment, have them verify the information on your account before you share any information. And you're going to hear us say verify frequently throughout this presentation, but always verify everything. Anyone entering your home must be wearing a uniform and badge identifying themselves with the company name and logo. They do not and should not ask for payment information in an email. The email may include a link to view your bill or your account through the company portal, so you can click on the link to go to the portal, but you should never be paying directly through a link in an email. Any payment related info should again be updated in the company's portal or by initiating a call to the utility company. They will not call to tell you of a refund and ask for bank account information. If you've got a call like that, just hang up or ask for their name and the company and do your research, and you can call them back. They do not offer for your service to be partially covered by a charity if you make a partial payment over the phone or by a wire transfer. So these are all red flags to be on the lookout for. And then this next slide, I haven't actually heard extremely recently of this happening, but it was happening a lot last year. These are examples of scam texts from the Illinois Secretary of State regarding DMV information requests. The DMV is not going to contact you via text. Again, just like a lot of the other types of companies we've mentioned in the IRS and Social Security. So again, the golden rule applies here. Do not click on any links provided in this information, and you can see all these texts in the blue copy, the blue type show links for you to click on. Do not click on.
Lisa and Jackie, I just have to interrupt you because we're getting some notes that the speech is garbled. Can't quite hear very well. I don't know if that's just Lisa's, your audio is not as good as Jackie's, but I just wanted to make note that a few people have made comment. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear you.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it's garbled. So sorry.
Okay. Many of you are quite charitable and like to donate to charities of your choice, but you need to be aware here too. If you receive emails or calls that are high pressure to give immediately, beware. A charitable organization should never pressure you to give right now. Same thing, don't click on the link in an email to donate. Think about what you want to do. You're better off going directly to their website to make the donation or sending them a check. That way you don't have to wonder if that link was real or not. Once you have made a donation to a charity, you will probably receive mails and emails from them at least monthly asking for more. I know that sometimes I begin to doubt myself and I think, oh, I've been meaning to give to them. I thought I did it a couple months ago, but maybe I didn't actually send it. So that's why it's important to keep track of your donations. Keep a spreadsheet or a notebook where you write down every donation you make, even if it's $10. Look back at this record before donating again, because you should be giving what you want to give on your terms. It's a tactic that they use to just try and keep getting more from you. So some people just will keep donating and at the end of the year realize they donated way more than they meant to or that they could afford. If a charitable organization requests payment through a wire transfer, a money order, or a gift card, it's probably not legitimate. Make your donation, as I said, by check or on your credit card. There are so many GoFundMes now, and everyone puts these fundraisers on Facebook. So do your research before. Some of these stories are really heartbreaking and you want to give to them. But is your money going to an organization or to an individual? When it's for a person or a family, you won't receive a tax receipt and the money goes directly to the organizer. So only give to those if you actually know the person and truly want to help and you're sure you're doing the right thing. If it's being done through an organization, go to the website to make sure it's a real charity and look up reviews. And I have some websites here that you can go to look up a charity. And there's actually an IRS tax exempt organization search, and we'll give you that information on a handout later where you can go in and put in any charity that you found and find if it's real. And you can get reviews on those charities from these other organizations. Okay, hopefully.
I hope everyone can hear me clearly. I tried to make some adjustments, so I apologize, but this next piece is really important because we are all avid most of us are avid social media users. So let me know if you're having, or let Emily or Barbara know if you're having trouble hearing me. So as far as social media, the rise in social media and its users year over year has been steady and significant. Over the last few years, especially with COVID, it's become an essential tool for many older adults to communicate with friends and family. Along with the increase in activity, unfortunately, Facebook and Instagram in particular have been gold mines for scammers. Some common scams include the following: Facebook quizzes, where they ask you questions and they're, it's a clear attempt to try to pry loose some personal data from you. So please don't fall victim to that. Also, there's a scam where there's a post that asks, is that you in this photo or video? And as curious as you might be, please try to repress that curiosity to click on a link to see what supposedly is either funny or embarrassing behavior. These links tend to go to phony social network sites and they prompt you to log in to get your credentials. So please don't fall victim to that. Then the other scam is a missing persons scam, where criminals contact people. This is really horrible. They contact people who post information about missing family members or friends, and they pose as kidnappers, claiming to have abducted the loved one, and they demand ransom payments. So that's a tough one. And then this last one, I think we've all been recipients of these fake texts. They're also called robo-texts from Netflix and Amazon, among other online companies, claiming to be checking on suspicious activity on your account, and either your account will be shut down or it is shut down unless you click on the link. This next slide shows an example. I actually received this text yesterday morning, and this is one of probably over 50 texts I've received either from Netflix or Amazon claiming similar information. As you can see, there's a link to click on to recover my Netflix account, which is supposedly on hold. Again, golden rule, never click on links. And the good news, hopefully you won't have to worry about these texts as much going forward, since actually on March 16th, the Federal Communications Commission adopted its very first rule that aims to snuff out robo-texts, and the agency is requiring wireless phone carriers to block texts from illegitimate phone numbers, which can display on your phone as numbers from unused phone lines and landlines. So, at least the government is starting to take some action on this. So just quickly, some social media scam protection tips, which you may already be aware of, but good to refresh. You should check and regularly update your privacy settings in your social media. I know I probably don't do that enough. Also, try to use different passwords for different accounts. I know it's a lot to remember, which is why We highly recommend that you get a password keeper, which you can put all your passwords in and reference if you forget what your password is. But try to keep different passwords. Also, be wary of strangers, and this really, I mean, this goes for any scenario. Be wary of strangers who attempt to forge a relationship, specifically asking for money on social media. That's, you know, if someone's asking you for money and you don't know them, don't give it to them. Also, verify with a friend, similar along the money lines. Verify with a friend if you get what appears to be a social media message from them about an investment opportunity or an urgent need for money. Maybe their account has been hacked, which happens a lot, especially on Facebook, and this message isn't actually sent by your friend, even though it looks like it is. So always, again, please verify. Also, common sense, which sometimes escapes us. Think before you post about yourself and your whereabouts. Also, don't share personal information such as your home address or your phone number in posts or profile or in your profile. Don't accept friend requests from strangers. Remember, it's quality, not quantity. So if you don't know the person, and even, I mean, I suppose if they're a friend of a friend, you can ask your friend before you accept the invitation. But again, just don't accept friend requests from strangers straight out. Don't download apps via links on social media unless you need them. And you can also confirm that they come from a trusted source. And lastly, and again, we've repeated this several times, don't click on suspicious links, even in posts from people you know. You know, one overall tip for not getting swept up in this social media multiverse, as it's been referred to, it's important sometimes to just take a breath with all of these situations and scams. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, people end up oversharing or making a mistake. So just, it's important to slow down and give some thought to what you're doing before you take action. So the last vehicle we're going to cover, which we all like to do, is online shopping. It continues to increase each year, especially the last few years with the pandemic. And like social media, unfortunately, it's ripe with scammers looking to get your personal information. So some things to look out for include, the first one is beware of deals that seem too good to be true. And again, this can be, you know, applied to almost anything. Anything that seems to be too good to be true usually is, unfortunately. But in this case, I'm talking about discounts potentially in excess of 55%. Other than for going out of business sales, when a retailer is going out of business, you should be wary of sharp discounts like that. Also, you should only shop on secure websites, so you should check for the padlock icon in the address bar at the top of your browser. The address should start with https://. Try to always use a credit card. That way, if you get scammed, the charge can be disputed. It's much more difficult with debit cards and almost impossible. The next item, if you see poor website design, so this could be typos or missing sections. You know, most websites have a section about us or their privacy policy and their terms and conditions. If those things are missing and you see typos, those are red flags. Legitimate retailers take great care with their online presentations, so you shouldn't be seeing things like that. Another thing to be aware of is if the company has limited or suspicious contact options. So if they only have a contact form or their customer service email is a Yahoo or a Gmail account, not a corporate account. So for example, my personal bookkeeper, our email is info@mypersonalbookkeeper.com, which is a corporate email address. But if it were I mean, it wouldn't, if it were, for example, info@gmail.com or info@yahoo.com or some strange word. I think you get what I'm saying. And then the next item, URLs. So the URL is the address that appears in the bar at the top of your browser. If it has extraneous words or characters or unusual domains, so the domain is what appears after the dot. So typically we're used to seeing a .com, a .net, possibly a .org. If it's a .bargain, a .app, or even a foreign domain, you should be very wary. And then the last thing is you should be aware of texts or emails that appear to be from UPS or FedEx. Similar to like the Netflix and the Amazon ones, these have been very common where they're trying to get you to click on a link to check on delivery. First of all, if you've never ordered anything and you're getting this, definitely be wary. But if you have not signed up specifically for notification from FedEx or UPS, you should not be getting a text, and you should not click on any link in that text.
Okay, so we'd like to share with you some actual scams that we've helped to resolve in some way or to prevent. One of our clients received a document in the mail, looked very real. It was from a company offering to increase your Social Security monthly benefit. And all you have to do is complete this form with your Social Security number, your date of birth, and your bank account information. And then they'll make sure you get a much bigger, you're going to pay a $250 fee, I think it was. And then your benefit is going to increase every month going forward and be deposited into your account. So one of our clients received this, and she filled the form out, and then she thought about it, and she said, you know what, I'm going to wait for my client advocate to come and review the mail with me and ask her if she thinks this is a good idea. And when our client advocate got there, she said, no, this is not how Social Security works. Let's tear this up and throw it in the garbage. So, you know, just shows you how it just sounds too good to be true. She wanted to do it. Who doesn't want to get more Social Security every month? But it was good that she took a breath and waited and ran it by someone else. And we always say, run it by a family member, a friend that you trust, a trusted professional. Call your accountant, your lawyer, ask somebody before you go ahead and do something. We also had an issue where we started working with a new client, and as we normally do, we started reviewing his bank statements and saw that there were no Social Security deposits. And we inquired, don't you receive Social Security? And he said, sure. And we said, are there other bank accounts? And we looked, we didn't find Social Security being deposited into any of his accounts. So when the client advocate dug in further and started doing more research, she found out that somebody a year ago had stolen his Social Security direct deposit and had rerouted it to their own bank account. And this man hadn't been checking, he just assumed it was coming in, and he had missed out on over a year of Social Security. And as you know, nothing is easy with the Social Security Administration. His son came in town and helped, and they went to the Social Security office and they were able to rectify it and get the back pay for all the payments he had missed. But it's just a lesson in how important it is to be watching your accounts and reviewing everything and making sure that everything that's supposed to be there is. In 2020 and in 2021, a little bit into 2022, I haven't heard of this much lately, but it could still come up. There were many unemployment claims being made in people's names. It actually, it's not just people who were deceased. It happened to my husband even, who, you know, is the owner of a company, and it showed that he had filed for unemployment. So we, you know, reported it to the Illinois Department of Employment Security. But we had a client we were helping, and she received an unemployment claim for her husband who had passed away 2.5 years earlier, and it made her very nervous. What's going on? And we reported it, and there wasn't much to do, but there were people who were doing this. This was very, very common, and hopefully we're kind of done with that. But if you were to see something like that, just report it to the Illinois Department of Employment Security. Third-party electric suppliers. Some of them, you really have to check it out before you were to move over. They offer you a deep discount on your electricity, and you no longer pay ComEd, you pay this third-party company who is purchasing it in bulk for you from ComEd. But what tends to happen is they give you this discount for the first 1 to 3 months, and then a few months later, all of a sudden your rate goes way up and you're paying much more than you would have for ComEd. So beware of these offers and definitely do the research before you make any of these changes. And finally, this one really pains me, being taken advantage of by a trusted professional. And I know I tell you to call your trusted professionals for advice on things. But again, sometimes we have to also be really aware with those people. We had a client in an assisted living who was befriended by a nurse on staff there, and that nurse started helping the person order supplies and doing online shopping for her, and even helping her with bank deposits, way beyond what a nurse at the facility should be doing, and that should be a red flag. But this person really needed the help and didn't know what else to do. Eventually, someone at the facility called my personal bookkeeper and had us start working with the person, and that's how we discovered that this nurse had the person's credit card and had been using it for her own things, and also had the bank account information and was debiting money from her. And we found she was ordering meals on the credit card and making her own purchases on Amazon for things that this client of ours would not have needed. So it was really a pretty awful situation, and we reported it, and that it changed after that, I'll just say. So just have to be really careful.
Yes, absolutely. So throughout the presentation, we've referred to some tips on what you can do to protect yourself, but I just want to kind of summarize some of the key ones here. You should always make sure your device is set up to be locked. You can enter a password. You should lock it like you lock your front door, and this includes your smartphone, your iPad, your laptop. After a certain amount of time that there's inactivity, it should lock up, and you should have to enter your code to get back in. This next one, unfortunately, is the world that we live in, but you should really be suspicious of everyone and everything, especially the online piece. And these phone calls, like we talked about from Social Security and IRS, you shouldn't be getting them. So, and again, the key is just always verify the information. The next item that we mentioned, do not share personal information such as Social Security, Medicare, and credit card numbers in response mainly to unsolicited calls, texts, or emails. This next item, you can set up notifications with your bank for credit card charges over a certain amount. That way, and it can come to you immediately as a text on your phone. That way, if there's a charge over that amount that you did not initiate and you get an alert, you'll know you need to take some action on that, whether it's a fraudster or whatnot using your card. And then, as I mentioned previously, try not to use your debit card for purchases. If someone has your debit card, they can easily drain your bank account. If you use your credit card, it's fairly easy to catch it and dispute the charge, as I just mentioned. This next one, you can set filters on your phone. Specifically, I know iPhone and Androids to block robocalls and robotexts. And I've got that information if people want it, how to set that up. But you should also make sure that you keep your contact list updated in your phone, including like your doctors, your pharmacy, so that if you do set up those filters, it's not going to block calls such, important calls like from your doctor's office or whatnot. And then you can look into robocall blocking apps for your phone, and then do not return if you don't answer a robocall and they leave a voicemail message, do not return that call. And just common sense, if you receive a call from an unknown number, which again, common sense escapes all of us at times, so don't think you're alone. If you receive a call from an unknown number or one that doesn't show up on caller ID, don't answer. And again, this kind of reiterates the importance of putting all your important numbers in your contact list with names. But the key is don't answer the call if you don't know the number. If it's important, that person's going to leave a message. You can listen to the voicemail and call them back on your own time. The next one that we've mentioned multiple times, do not click on links or download files from unexpected emails, even if the email address looks like a company or a person you recognize. Ditto for text messages and unfamiliar websites. When in doubt, contact that company that supposedly sent the suspicious, potentially fraudulent message, or if it's a person, but don't click on anything, and try to use a phone number or go to the website from maybe an invoice that you have. If you do receive a suspicious call, excuse me, ask for names of companies and individuals. You can hang up and do some research and call them back if it's on the up and up, but don't feel pressured or put on the spot to respond to something if you don't know what it's about and who the person is. And Jackie mentioned this too. If you think you've fallen for a scam, talk with someone either in your family, a family member, or a trusted professional to get some advice immediately. Don't wait. And again, there's no shame in being scammed. It can happen to any of us. So the most important thing, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, is to report it and hopefully get it rectified right away. And I wanted to mention too, again, that if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. This is a life lesson that we've all unfortunately learned at some point, but just, beware and, use your common sense. And this next slide, which is my last slide, I recently watched a news report on online scams, and the producer of the piece came up with this, which I thought was clever and just wanted to share, called the 4 don'ts. So 1, don't know. Then 2, don't respond. 3, don't answer. And 4, don't click. And this will help you stay protected.
Okay, I just wanted to share with you some places that you can report scams. And this will all be, including the charity information that I gave earlier. We're going to have a handout with all of this information on it, and it will get emailed to you by Emily. So lots of ways you can report it, and you absolutely should. You should not ever be afraid. If it wasn't actually fraud, then they'll investigate and find that it wasn't. But always better to report it than not. So we thank you so much for listening. We know it was a lot of information. And now if any of you have questions or stories to share, we are happy to listen.
So one thing I want to say, thank you, is amazing. And I want to say to everybody that this is on in perpetuity on Facebook, on the Elderworks, ELDERWERKS site. And it also will be on YouTube, so you can go back. So somebody's asking for right now, I have a couple comments. Can you go back one slide? Mm-hmm. So the previous slide, let's see, Kathy, if that's what you want. Is that the slide you wanted? Okay, so that slide, take a screenshot, perfect. And then the other request was the charity check websites. The charity check websites, if Mary wanted to see what that one was and take a screenshot of that. Again, I hope this is the right one, Mary. And again, this entire presentation is on Facebook and YouTube, so you're not going to be missing anything. The one comment or question I have, or just to sort of say to everybody, the immense prevalence of dementia in the population And especially the early onset, the mild cognitive impairment that people have or are diagnosed with and are alone in their homes and alone in their condominiums and apartments, is something that everyone needs to keep to mind for yourselves, for your family members. And so I think just in terms of your planning, and knowing the most trusted individuals that can share with you in your finances. It's sometimes is a piece of control, something people are afraid to give up, but to do these things and plan these things early on, you know, in your life. And certainly if you have all your cognitive abilities, those things, you know, regarding your sensibilities and judgment are very important. And, you know, Jackie and Lisa, I'm sure you have clients that have mild cognitive impairment or MCI that you manage, and daughters and sons and nieces and nephews have set you up with folks. But do you have a comment on that?
So I think it's so important as you get older to plan, as you said, but I think it's important at every age because none of us know what can happen later today to
Right.
us. There's an accident can happen. You can be in the hospital for a while and unable to take care of things in your life. So someone in your life needs to understand where you keep everything, where they can step in, how they can step in to take over and keep your bills going and your insurance and all your wishes. It's just so important. I know they're not comfortable conversations to have, but you need to have it. And I would document it safely somewhere so that it's easy for someone to find.
Correct.
Copy to your trusted person.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about regarding this, you know, safe deposit box keys, powers of attorney for health care, for property, wills. Do you agree that those things should be in the home where somebody knows where they are? Some people put them in their safe deposit box and then no one can get. Do you have an opinion about that?
Somebody needs to know where it is or have a copy, or know who your attorney is so they can get it from your attorney. The safe deposit box key is really important, and we do a document with people. It's something that we help people with. We call it the Life and Estate Guide, and that is one of the questions. Where do you keep that key? And it's easy to lose, so really make sure you know where it is. Obviously you want to keep it safe, but someone else should know where you keep it so they can get to your safety deposit box. Very important.
Mhm. Another question about one of your slides regarding people coming to the home, any kind of utility company and so forth. Sometimes they work in teams where someone will come to the door and try to distract. And so do you have an opinion about keeping sliding doors locked, other doors locked, if you know a utility company is coming, you know, just in terms of that piece of the house for safety? Do you have an opinion about that? Because they work in twos or threes or fours sometimes, where one comes to the front door and the others try to come in the back.
Lisa, do you want to take that one?
Sure. I mean, that's a tough one, but I would just always keep doors locked until somebody shows proper identification or gives you time. You know, if you have the screen door locked and they're telling you that they're from a certain utility company, you can contact the utility company to verify that, again, use the word verify, that they are who they say they are and have been sent by the utility company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you weren't expecting them, you don't need to let them in.
Correct.
Yeah.
You should tell them to have the company schedule it with you.
Okay, that's great advice.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
You know, we get this scam call from people and we go back and report. Is there any someplace we can report all these numbers so somebody can find out who they are and they can try to stop them? Because I must have about 7 scam call phone number and I don't call them back, but is there any organization who can collect all this number and do something about it?
Mm-hmm. So I have some numbers on websites on the screen right now. There's identitytheft.gov. That's reporting something federally. So if it was like some type of IRS, Social Security, or Medicare scam, I would go there. There's also the Illinois Attorney General Consumer Fraud Hotline, and here's the phone number on the screen. That's a really good one to report to. They will investigate. There's another government website called reportfraud.ftc.gov. And then there's always the AARP fraud helpline, and they will give you advice also and try to help you figure out if it was fraud and what you should do next.
Okay, and is there any way you can send all this slide today by email to us?
Yes, we will be sending that out.
Again, the slides will come, but it is also permanently on Facebook and on YouTube on ElderWorks, ELDERWERKS, but it will come out. I did put in the chat, you can block phone numbers on your phone. So if you do get those, go over to the right and you can block caller. Learn how to do that from, if you don't know how to do that, learn how to do that. Have a family member or friend help you. Just block all those numbers.
Yeah, we done that, but that within the 5 minutes, you will get the different number with the
Correct.
same.
Yeah, they just call from a different number.
That's what they do. They're robocalls.
Yeah, just don't answer. Do not answer if you don't know the number.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions from anyone?
One more comment. We get a lot of invoice saying, thank you for purchasing Amazon invoice number such and such. And we never place an order. We never find. And when we call back to Amazon, they're saying, no, there is nothing from you. So how does this happen?
Well, I get those too. Go ahead, Lisa.
I was just going to ask, how are you receiving the invoice? Through, is
It
it
just come an email saying, thank you for shopping, and invoice for $119 for doing the shopping. And then I said, oh, I never did any shopping. I never ordered anything. And then I have to go back to Amazon customer service and find out. And they said, no, there's nothing showing in your account.
right? I
So
mean,
there's usually a link on those. Sorry, I get those too. There's usually a link on those emails. And also if you look at the email address that it came from, it's like what Lisa was saying, it's a strange email address. I did contact Amazon once about it and found out it was fraud. And so now I just immediately delete those emails. I check my bank account and my credit card to make sure there was no charge. And as long as there wasn't, I just delete those emails and ignore them. But do not respond to those emails. Do not click on a link in those emails.
If you use Amazon, you also should be very well aware of how to log into your account, check your purchases, check what's delivered, check that off your account. Because for email, it's really pretty much for delivery. Usually there's a photograph of the item, that kind of thing, but everything else should be deleted.
Thank you. I just want to share with you, when you get the victim of fraud and they ask you to go to the store and get some payment from some credit card or gift card, don't get this kind of brainwash. And at that time, you have so much stress, you don't know what you're doing. And I have a friend who ended up paying $13,000 from Macy's credit card, a gift card, to this guy.
Terrible.
Terrible.
And then he was not able to recuperate them. Well, thanks for it. Was a good presentation.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I want to just say too, be careful of people that are calling you from cell phones. I even had a call from Adult Protective Services the other day regarding a client, and had we had any contact with the client, I politely said, I need to, can I have the name of the client? I hung up. I called the owner of our company. I wanted to verify, I got this person's name, business name. But people calling, more and more people have cell phones. A lot of people don't have the landlines. A lot of companies have changed, so forth and so on. So you should always verify that as well. Cell phone numbers that pop up.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? So the presentation will go out to you, an evaluation will go out to you. We love your feedback. This is so important And my personal bookkeeper is just so much the best at what they do. And the nice part about what they do is they help, you know, people as young in their, you know, as first starting out, you know, after college, and all the way to seniors. So their information is here. ElderWorks is 847-462-0885. And you certainly can always reach us there.